Have you considered that as the wife, you typically steward the family's money? But what does this actually mean? So in some families, maybe the wife is stay at home, maybe they're working. I care, but I don't care, if that makes sense. Typically the mom or the wife makes a lot of these small but important money spending decisions. Maybe your husband does pay the bills, things like that. Great, that's fine, but bills are pretty standard, they're pretty typical. Your electric bill is what it is. It's a forced payment, okay? Your mortgage, if you have a car payment, which we'll touch on that. Like, they might not be the same number every time, but they're just like forced. They're almost like mindless payments, okay? You don't have a lot of control or impact on them. Now, something like a car payment, yes, it's a choice to have a car payment versus paying off the car. Like, we'll get more into the weeds here in a minute, okay? My point being though, mom, you typically buy the groceries, you typically buy the clothing, the art supplies, the just decor, plants, anything and everything, okay? Typically that's on you, mom. So let's talk about why that's important and how we can steward the household money, whether it's your husband's income or both your incomes, wisely. Okay, so we got fixed expenses. Okay, that's what I was touching on, the mortgage, the electric bill. It's not directly fixed, but it's a fixed payment that you have to make. All right, this could be health insurance premiums, car insurance, phone bills, like I said, utilities. These things are gonna happen and you're gonna pay them. They don't change all that much. Then we have what's called discretionary spending or discretionary expenses. These, I'm saying, typically are the wife's responsibility. Again, every family is different, but this is groceries. Sometimes eating out is a little more up to you. Kids clothing, kids like sporting gear, just general supplies. Things like vacations, household items like plants, or even like hobbies, things like that, that just bringing things into your home typically falls on mom. Now, I personally believe that these discretionary categories are where the family's financial health is like won or lost. Okay, yes, the mortgage is bigger than the grocery bill, but the grocery bill is where you have the power to choose and the power to make changes. So you may have heard this joke. People, they have all these like happy wife, happy life, but also some men or just people in general will joke that like the man makes the money, the woman spends it. And it's kind of a joke when they're saying it and they mean it a little more as an insult of like she spends it carelessly, but she also can spend it carefully. Okay, again, typically the woman spends the money, but which woman are you? Are you the one who is mindlessly shopping and blowing that money? Or are you stewarding it and trying to save it, okay? There's a YouTuber that I watch sometimes and it's Home with Kelly, and she talks about the home economy. And it really is, it's like this concept of like, are you consuming things or are you producing things? And producing would be like a garden and like canning stuff, for example, versus going to the store and buying stuff and consuming it. I've been thinking on this more and more and more, and I want to be the wife, whether you're stay at home or working, I want to be the one that's stewarding the money and trying to like almost like grow it or multiply it or save it and just steward it as well as possible. So how can you steward it? First would be coming up with meal plans and easy, affordable meals to make for your family. Next would be things like couponing and shopping discounts. So going to Once Upon a Child for children's clothing or shopping at Goodwill. Now this is especially easy if you're stay-at-home mom because you have that time available. Now if you're both working, it can be a little more challenging, but you also have a little more income to blow because you do have two incomes. So it's a little bit of a give and a take on that. Another way you can steward the money is doing things like buying in bulk or shopping in bulk, and also reducing outsourcing. So cleaning your own home versus hiring cleaners. That's how you save money and keep it in your home, okay, instead of constantly outsourcing and spending. Now, another way would also be avoiding things in the first place. So this goes back to having a larger home than you can afford as far as the mortgage, or getting a car on a loan that has a then car payment versus buying something outright that you can't afford, having an older vehicle. Some of these choices impact those fixed expenses that we said are a little less variable and a little less impactful for you as the wife. But maybe when you go car shopping, maybe you encourage your husband, let's get the minivan. All right, let's get the minivan instead of the big old gas guzzler SUV. All right, if you can afford an SUV, that is fine. I have an SUV, I don't have a minivan. But you as the wife, you do have an impact, okay? If the home is out of your price range, maybe you say, maybe we should pray on it, maybe we should think about it, maybe this is too much for us to take on. You do have more control than you realize. I know a lot of people say like the man is the head, the woman is the neck, and the neck controls the head. And I don't mean this in like a power play. Your marriage should be a partnership, all right? And part of your side of the partnership is to steward the household money well, okay? This is a game that we are trying to win or lose together. It's not one against the other by any means. So if you are a stay-at-home mom, your time is your currency. Use your time to save money, okay? Your time might not be bringing an income in, but if your time is saving money, that is valuable, and that's how you bring value to the table. Now, if you're a working wife or working mom, you guys have 2 incomes, okay? You might splurge a little bit. You might get your house cleaned, and that might be worth it to you. But you also need to look at that income, you being outside of the home working, and if all you do is pay for luxuries and convenience, and your whole paycheck's gone, would it be worth it just to stay home and clean your own house? That's debatable, and people have their own opinions on that, and that's totally fine. You also could be like making bank. You as the wife could be the breadwinner. Every family is different, okay? I'm definitely not judging anyone in that situation. And I'm very thankful that we have women in the workforce. All right, there are certain jobs that I'm very glad that they're in and doing. So this isn't saying women should not work, by no means. This is just saying that you should be a wise steward of the money that you bring into your home, whether you bring it in or if it's only your husband solely bringing it in, okay? Now, I do want to say some husbands are big spenders, okay? Every marriage is different. Some men like hunting and they're constantly buying new, camo or new bow. Some guys like to spend, okay? I'm blessed to have a husband who does not like to spend. So if you're not in that same category, that's okay. But you and your husband work on getting on the same page and work on decreasing that luxury spending, dialing it back in, again, buying things used, secondhand, not having to have everything. But you, again, as the wife, you can't control everything he does. You can control what you do and what you do for the household. So when it comes to you as the wife, the mother, are your habits hurting or helping your family? Do you get coffee every day? Do you instead go to the library and spend time with your kids there in a free resource? Are you lightening your husband's load or increasing it? Say, for example, you're a stay-at-home mom and he is working. Is he having to work a second job because you are spending too much? Lighten his load. Don't increase his stress. You stewarding the money well shows your love, your maturity, and like your loyalty to your family. Look at your weekly and even daily choices and see if it aligns with your family goals. Okay, is your goal to pay off your house? Is your goal not to have a car payment? Is your goal to start saving for your kids' college? Is you getting that coffee aligning with that goal? Make the tough decisions, be disciplined, and think through your even tiny, tiny decisions. As the wife, we want to lift our family financially, not weigh them down. A couple things I would ask you to be mindful of is, are you an emotional spender? All right, is influencers or social media making you spend money? If so, delete the apps. If it's emotional, find the root of the problem. And then I also want to encourage you when it comes to spending and stewarding your money wisely, include your children. Not in a way that scares them or alarms them, but teach them, okay? Teach them to be wise stewards of your home economy and your family's money. It's your job to teach them. They're not going to just figure it out on their own, okay? If you have generational struggles with money, be the end of it, all right? Train them up in a way that they can find success from an earlier age than you're even finding it. That's the goal. We want better for our children, right? So mamas, are we going to be a burden to our family financially, or are we going to be a blessing? You have more control than you realize and more impact than you realize, even in the smallest of decisions. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you like more content like this, check out my channel. I talk home, I talk saving money, being thrifty, and I talk parenting advice. I like to talk about a little bit of everything. So check out the videos that apply best to you, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video.